Hello, welcome back to Survival Saturday with Johnny Tiger. The date is September 19th, 2020. Now, I have been asked many times about the karambit knife. Well, I know I did a video on karambit way back when I started the Johnny Tiger YouTube channel. For those of you who haven't seen it, there is a separate channel for the older Johnny Tiger videos that you can go look it up. Both this channel and that one are displayed on my website, johnnytiger.com. Also, there will be a link to the best podcast in the world, the Johnny Tiger Experience podcast. Uh, it's worth checking out as well. So, since that other video had been quite a while ago, I thought it is time to bring this up again because I do get asked a lot, what is the karambit and why do I recommend it so much in cases of self-defense and martial art. Now, before we get into it, it is important for me to say this. As far as I'm aware of, here in Canada and even in Taiwan, it is illegal to carry things, items for self-defense purposes, especially a knife. Now, keep in mind, the letter of the law says you cannot carry it for the purpose of self-defense or to be used to harm another person. That is not the same as saying you cannot carry it. Also, it depends on the manner in which you're carrying your self-defense or your tool. Let's just call them tool. Ironically, it is okay for me to walk down the street with something this big, like this big steel tiger karambit, clipped to, let's say, my sleeve, where everybody can see it. That's actually fine. But if I was to carry a tiny little folding knife like this one in my pocket or behind my belt, and then if I get caught, then I am breaking the law. So in other words, if you carry it concealed, you got another layer of difficulties that you got to deal with. Now it's all up to you guys in the end, but I want to stress that if you're carrying a knife or whatever, it is not something you want to talk about with friends. It's not something you want to flash about. It's not something you want to pull out in a restaurant to show to your best buddy. Okay, that if that is your mode of self-defense, keep it hidden. No one should know about it. That way, you won't get into any trouble. Hopefully, for a long time. Now, if you casually go into the restaurant, you're sitting at the table with your friend and you say, hey, look at this, look what I carry, isn't that cool? And then the waiter or waitress report you to the police. Well, then you kind of deserve that one. So, again, uh, I'm not here to say to carry or not carry, but I'm here to say it is very important to be covert, to be low-key, and also, read up on the law of your province, state, or country, just to be sure that you're not going to go to jail. Another important thing to realize is that the moment you pull out a weapon, a tool, a knife in self-defense, you have now just escalated this to the level of a deadly threat. This is to say, this is not something you want to pull out to bluff someone. You don't pull this out to bluff. You don't pull this out in hoping that the person is going to run away. You pull this out, you better be ready to use it. Because now you just basically told the other person it's okay to kill you because you got a deadly weapon in your hand. Okay? In fact, in fact, let's say someone approach you in a dark alley. They got empty hands, but they are really big and threatening, and they proceed to threaten to beat you up. And then you pull out a knife. At the moment that you pull this knife out, if that person now pull out their knife or their gun and shoot you or stab you, they can probably claim self-defense in court because you introduced the weapon into this conflict first. So keep that in mind. So with that all said, let's talk about karambit. Well, first and foremost, what is a karambit? A karambit typically consists of two characteristics that can be called a karambit. It has a ring on the butt end of the hilt, and it has a curved, claw-shaped blade. Typically, you hold it by putting your index finger through the ring, and then close your finger around the rest of the knife, and let the blade, poke out from the bottom of your fist. And the point should always be forward. I think people hold it. They think they should hold it this way, with the point towards themselves. Okay, they think that will give them ability to hook and do all kind of cool martial arts stuff. But that is the wrong way. If you hold the karambit this way, right away you'll feel it kind of feel weird in your grip because it's curving the wrong way. And also, all someone has to do is hit your hand and the point going to your own forearm. Okay, so always the point forward, not inward. This ring is not for your thumb. This is for your index finger. Okay? Some people hold it with the blade up and the ring over the little finger, the pinky finger, but that is not the correct way to use a karambit. The karambit is held in the commando grip, point forward, index finger through the ring. Nowadays, there are a lot of other knives that imitate the ring feature of a karambit. So I hear people say, oh, I got a karambit, I got a karambit. Take this knife, for example. This is a pocket knife. It has a ring on the bottom. You can hold it like a karambit. However, if you look at the profile of this knife, the ring is curving the wrong way. The blade is not curved like a claw. So this is not a karambit. A knife with a ring, but the blade is not curved. That is either called a dart knife or at best a push dagger or ring dagger. You can say they are maybe the cousins of karambit, but they are not real karambit. A karambit have to have the ring. A karambit have to have uh, the uh, curved blade, like a claw. And that is the inspiration of a karambit. It was designed over after the curved claw on the tiger. Although no tiger out there have a claw this size, thank God. Now, that's a karambit. Just to give you guys a quick comparison, this is a regular knife. Well, this is not really regular. This is a boot dagger. And this is a double-edged boot dagger. But as you can see, no ring on the handle, straight blade, more conventional knife. Okay, keeping them side by side. Boot knife, right hand, karambit, left hand. Right away you can tell the difference in these two knives. Very distinctive is a karambit in design. So why do I like the karambit so much? Why do I recommend it and why do I train with it myself? There are quite a few advantages and also some disadvantage of karambit, and we're going to cover that today. Now, before we go any further, I want to say I'm by no means the master of knife fighting. I'm by no means master of karambit or karambit related martial arts. I know actually very little, but I'm willing to share what I know with you guys. The first advantage of a karambit is the finger ring, which allow this knife to literally become part of my arm, an extension of myself, and my hand. If I'm holding a regular knife in a combative situation and someone hit my hand with something hard or with their fist or someone kicked my hand from below, that might cause my hand to open up and the knife fall to the floor. And now I lose my means of defense. A karambit, on the other hand, since there's a ring attaching it to my finger, if someone hit me on the wrist and my hand opened up, the karambit is still there. I'm not going to drop this. If someone is wrestling me for the knife in my hand, it's a lot harder for them to take it away because it is attached to my finger by a nice solid ring. So the first advantage of a karambit is it's really hard to drop it and really hard to disarm someone holding a karambit. And that leads us to advantage number two. With a regular knife, I'm limited to using it as a regular knife. I can cut, I can thrust, I can parry, I can maybe smash them with the pommel on the knife. But that's about it when it comes to regular knife. With a karambit, on the other hand, I can slash, I can thrust, I can punch using this ring as a steel knuckle to protect my fist. I can punch and I can even grab. Okay, if someone was coming at me with a knife, I can even grab with the same hand my karambit is in if I have to, because this karambit allows me to open my fingers without worrying about dropping my knife. If I grab someone's shirt, for example, that knife is still attached to my hand, allowing me to have a quick maneuver if I have to change my direction or my attack. Now, with a regular knife, I got a knife in this hand and I try to grab him. Okay, I'm trying to grab his shirt, Right away, I'm fumbling this knife. This knife is going to fall out of my hand if I'm not careful. So a karambit gives me way more options in a combative situation. Number three, a karambit also gives me much better chance of controlling the other person's weapon or arm in the conflict. Let me show you. There's a Bruce here come at me with his own knife, okay? And I have to somehow get in behind his knife, get into striking range, and try to deflect this when he's coming stabbing at me. If I got a regular knife in my hand, this is what's going to happen. He stab, I parry, and then if I'm not careful, he's going to slide over my own knife. Okay, let's do this slow. He stab, I parry, and then he slide over. He's going to get me in the neck on my face, and I'm dead. Okay? Let's say I have a regular knife in commando grip. That's a little bit better. Let's say, again, he stab, I parry, but this time there's less room for him to slide. But if he pull back like that, he come down from below, and right again, I got killed because his knife go right into my stomach. So, not a good situation either way. Now, let's try the same thing with the karambit, and you guys hopefully will see a big difference in uh, how this is handled. Let's say again, Bruce come at me with a knife, he stab, I parry. The curve, as you guys can see, the curve my karambit is catching his blade, so I can actually hook him. I can wiggle his knife up and down my karambit and keep it more or less contained. And even if it slips past the tip, all I have to do is drop my hand down, and this will trap his knife between the back edge of my karambit and my own forearm. Now that, depending on the kind of knife he's using, I may get my forearm cut off, but that's okay. It's better than in my face, right? Now if I catch this just right, he stab, I parry, I go straight in. My karambit trap his knife and goes into his chest at the same time. Much, much better when it comes to simple knife blocking and deflecting and trapping maneuver because of this aggressive curve on the karambit. Number four, range. Now this is both a negative and a positive. Um, if I have a regular knife in my hand, the problem is if this person knows what he's doing, he can judge what is the limit of my range by my knife plus the length of my arm. Okay, so if he just stay that far away, unless I want to go forward, I can't reach him with my knife. So this is a regular knife is predictable. Not so with a karambit. A karambit in combat is very, very tricky to gauge the range because it's so curved. When I have it back along my forearm like this, the person thinking that if they stay that far away, they stay out of my hand, my arm reach, I can't reach them without moving forward, right? Okay, let's say, let's say this person got his knife right here pointing at me. And if I go forward, I'll walk into his knife. Okay? Let's say I don't want to move forward, but here I can't reach him with my knife because he's got a regular knife, I got a karambit. He got a longer reach than I do. Okay? I can't go in without risking walking into his knife, and I can't reach him with my own knife from here. But watch this. Dead, just the same. Okay? I don't even have to step forward. I just allow the karambit to rotate on the finger ring and whip it forward. Suddenly, it gained almost another 8 inches of reach. His knife is still not reaching me, but my knife whip out and catch him when he's not aware. Look at that reach. From here, only the length of my arm to that. The entire length of my arm plus the karambit when you whip it out. Advantage number 5. I believe this is number 5. Might be number 6. I kind of lost count. Um, the kind of, and I hate to do this on the video because I feel like I'm teaching you guys how to kill people. But if we're talking about karambit, this is one of the biggest benefits. The ability to inflict much larger wound on a target. I got a box here, and we're going to do a live demonstration. Let's say I take my regular boot dagger, okay, the regular boot dagger, and we go into the box, and then we pull it back out. Let me turn this so you guys can see. I hope you guys can see this. The entry, the wound, okay, the cut, it's only about an inch, maybe a little bit wider than an inch. Straight in, straight out, okay? Would that do damage? Of course, anything going into the body would do damage. But now, what happens if we use a karambit in the same manner? By the way, this steel tiger karambit was given to me by my sensei, Alan. Really loved it. If I use the same maneuver with a karambit, watch. Look at that. Look at that. One cut with each knife. That little boot dagger left a wound that you can cover up with your thumb. The karambit, on the other hand, leave a gaping, cut open entry. This got to be like 6 inches long, and look at how messy that is. See? Look at how messy that is. It's not, the person is not going to continue the fight after a cut like that. Now, if you just use a boot knife, a lot of people actually can take a lot of 10 or 15 stabs like that and still continue to attack you, especially if they're on drugs or something. Uh, and sometimes they don't even feel it. But with the karambit, they will feel it. They'll definitely feel it. So those are the advantages of a karambit. Now let's talk about the disadvantage because I don't want to be biased. Karambit are great for self-defense and martial art, but they also have problems. One of the biggest problems of a karambit is it is not a very good utility knife. So if you want to use a karambit to open ladders, to cut duct tape, to shave branches, to chop underbrush and stuff like that, when you go camping, you might have to clean a fish. Good luck. A karambit is just so clumsy because of its forward curve. In those cases, this boot knife will serve you so much better because of its more normal profile. A karambit is made mainly for one purpose, to vanquish your enemy. Okay, that will also lead to our second disadvantage. If you get caught by police, explaining away this straight dagger, by the way, double-edged knives are illegal, so be careful with that. But explaining away a regular knife versus a karambit, you'll have a much easier time explaining away a regular knife. Because a karambit was made for combat and combat alone. In the old days, they actually could use it for tools, for farming, but I imagine the police officer not going to trust you when you say that you carry the karambit so you can go dig up potatoes or pumpkin. So that is the second disadvantage. The third disadvantage, again, we're going to talk about range. As you already seen, an attacker armed with a regular knife versus me holding a karambit. He got a way longer reach than I do until I flick the karambit out at him. Okay? But pound for pound, a regular knife has more reach. So that's something to be considered. Next, a regular knife gives you more holding options. You can hold the tip up, you can hold the tip down, you can hold the tip forward, you can hold the tip inside, like inside a palm grip. Okay, a regular knife gives you a lot of holding options. Karambit, pretty much just a one way. Okay, like you generally you hold the tip down. Like I said, you can hold it like tip up like a regular knife, but then you sacrificed all the advantages of a karambit while it's such a weird shape that you can't really get a good attack in anyway. So a karambit is more limited. Also, the next point, a real knife is a lot easier to use. Anyone can pick up a real knife and try to defend themselves with it, okay? Because it's simple. The sharp end going to the other person. A karambit, on the other hand, actually takes training, okay? You pick up this and try to defend yourself. If you try to use it like a real knife, you'll find it really clumsy. How do I cut with this? And how do I parry with this? And the how do I slice? It's just all really clumsy until you get some training under your belt. So a karambit is more specialized, require much more training. In the end, pick a karambit, pick a regular knife, pick a kitchen knife. It's all up to you, depending on what you want to use it for and what you're comfortable, what you have you trained in. But please be responsible with whatever you choose to use, to carry, for utility, for self-defense. And do not go out there and try to hurt your other fellow human being just because you got 3 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches of steel in your hand. Thank you for checking out today's Survival Saturday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Soul Search Sunday. For now, have a good night and be safe.